Hello. It's not uncommon to see alcohol as the only pause button in a founder's 80-hour of long work week. Board meetings end, then glasses clink, and what begins as a celebration quietly becomes the part of survival. For many founders, that evening drink is not a rebellion, it's a relief, a reward after another day of endless decisions and relentless responsibility. Society normalizes it, networking over whiskey, a toast to success, and it looks harmless, controlled, and even sophisticated. But behind that image, something quietly builds a hidden dependency. Not on pleasure, but on this alcohol break. Alcohol for many leaders becomes the substitute for stillness. And that's where the real cost begins. Behavioral psychology defines this mild dependency as a state where the brain associates relief with a substance. The person still functions, but he or she starts unconsciously depending on alcohol to regulate their emotion or to transition from stress and tension to some kind of rest. Founders are especially vulnerable because the way their neural reward circuits are wired through stress and success. Each target achieved gives some kind of dopamine spike, and each setback drains it also. Alcohol becomes the fastest and the cheapest way to feel alive psychologically. This is not addiction, it is some kind of entanglement. And we are not covering alcohol addicts here. That is a separate ballgame. This alcohol dependency is built not out of weakness, but from repetition. High achievers typically rationalize it very beautifully. I drink moderately and I can stop it anytime. And it, helps me to sleep better. But the brain does not care about these stories. It cares about the patterns. This dependency tends to hide behind the business performance. The business grows, the family still smiles, but the mind slowly starts getting dull. Alcohol slowly alters the leadership chemistry also. It dulls the prefrontal clarity. It disrupts the REM sleep. It interferes with serotonin balance. The decision fatigue also increases. Creativity drops. Patience shortens. Many founders say in their mind silently that it seems that my engine still runs, but on a contaminated fuel. Sometimes they miss their morning meeting. Sometimes they feel distracted on a dinner table with their family. And suddenly that invisible line between control and consumption, it gets crossed. The real loss is not so much professional. It is personal. It manifests in terms of lost presence, lost sleep, and lost spark. That's the hidden tax the alcohol charges on the currency of clarity. Fortunately, science has moved far beyond slogans like you have to just quit it, it doesn't work that way. The new approach is behavioral engineering. Using neuroscience and psychology to rewire the habits without any shame or struggle. Let's explore four evidence-based strategies recommended by some of these experts. They are very useful for powerful and analytically disciplined minds like founders. First strategy: neurochemical reset. Rebalance dopamine and GABA. GABA is a type of neurotransmitter. Alcohol boosts the dopamine and suppresses this GABA. When someone tries to stop drinking, the brain loses both its balance and pleasure also. And to reset this chemistry, neuroscientists recommend L-tyrosine supplements or dopamine boosting foods like bananas, beetroot and almonds. Cold exposure or cold showers, they are also proven to spike dopamine naturally by up to 250%. Magnesium glycinate and B complex vitamins, they also help to stabilize the mood chemistry. And at least 10 minutes of morning sunlight daily to regulate circadian rhythm and reduce craving cycles. These simple rituals rebuild the brain's reward system, the same system that alcohol had hijacked. The second strategy: cognitive behavioral tools for craving control. Cravings usually last only for about 10 to 20 minutes if not acted upon. Founders can train themselves to overcome that urge. Observe the cravings like a wave, feel it rise, peak, and then fade. One can also plan alternatives like, when I feel like drinking, I shall step outside, call a friend. One can practice even thought distancing. Replace saying that I need a drink with my brain is actually asking for some kind of relief. Over the time, the brain learns control instead of consumption. This requires some determination, some resolve, and clear intention to give up the dependency. Without sincere and genuine intention, one cannot sustain the efforts that are required. The third strategy: environmental design. Environment shapes behavior more than willpower. Change the environment and the cravings drop by almost 40%. Remove the bottles and glasses from the site. Keep mocktails, sparkling water, or herbal tonics very handy. Stack your fridge with healthy snacks or drinks like ashwagandha or tulsi. Plan evening routines that don't revolve around alcohol. Walking, sauna, some creative work, or a gym. When the context changes, the behavior follows naturally. The fourth strategy is accountability and data-driven awareness. Tracking something honestly creates transformation. You know the phrase, whatever gets measured gets managed. Use some kind of tools to log your patterns and pair that with an accountability partner, be it a friend, your spouse, or your coach. Reflect daily using simple prompts like, what was I feeling before the urge and what did I actually need at that moment? Daily self-awareness backed by the data basically replaces guilt with growth. Now combine all this into what we call the founder's reset system. Start with one step at a time. Replace the addictive patterns with more rational, creative, and supportive habits and new patterns. Then reflect on it, repeat it. Shift your identity from someone trying to quit to someone who does not need alcohol anymore. Introduce micro habits, a evening morning walk, a music, herbal tea, or journaling at the usual drink hour. Build substitutes for stress, something like breathwork, silence, meditation, connection. Try a 30-day challenge. Track your energy, focus, as well as sleep. Most founders notice a sharper cognitive lift by week 3. The point is not about exercising abstinence, it is about building authorship. Taking back authorship of one's mind. Picture the founder who reclaims that freedom. No fog, no guilt, no dependence. Mornings becoming sharper, sleep becoming deeper, and decisions becoming cleaner. When the emotional range returns, leadership feels lighter. When alcohol leaves, the mental age returns. And clarity that once lost becomes new competitive advantage. And that's not abstinence, that's evolution. This journey isn't about what's given up, it's about what's gained. You gain presence, patience, and power. A business grows only as fast as its leader's consciousness. When that consciousness clears, every metric, whether it is financial, emotional, spiritual, it transforms. And remember this final thought. All these changes you can begin on your own, step by step. But when guided by an experienced coach, the process becomes faster, much more deeper, and more consistent. A coach helps founders convert awareness into structure, emotions into insight, and habits into mastery. Because breaking dependency is not just about quitting something, it's about becoming someone new, someone who leads with clarity, health, and purpose every single day. And that requires holding the space for the founder. And the coach can do it the best. Finally, I would say that many successful founders unknowingly rely on alcohol as their only pause from pressure and performance. So, what begins as a relaxation quietly turns into dependency that clouds clarity, energy, emotional balance, lot of things. Modern science shows that freedom lies not in willpower, but in rewiring our habits, environment, and brain chemistry. Through small conscious changes or guided coaching, founders can restore their focus, health, and leadership power. Because true success is not measured by what we build, but by the consciousness with which we lead and we live. Thank you. Thank you very much.